I hope you guys are hungry. Me personally, I only ate one time yesterday, so I woke up feeling a bit famished this morning, and it's a good thing too. Because I woke up this morning to a nice woke smoothie. Oh, it was full of all the ingredients needed for proper woke nutrition. Mythical racism, check. Mythical misogyny, check. Mythical homophobia, check. Some people, they rely on alcohol to deal with their problems. Some people fall back on eating junk food when going through periods of depression. When I'm feeling the blues, which is extremely rare, but when I'm feeling the blues, I like to drown my sorrows in a woke smoothie. We all have problems in our life, but at least I can rest in the fact that I don't create most of my own problems. Can't say the same thing about Eilidh Barbour, and I'm sure I am mispronouncing her name, and I don't give a fuck because she has not earned my respect for proper name pronunciation. More than likely, most of you guys have never heard of Eilidh Barbour. I had never heard of her until this morning. Let me give you a proper introduction. She graduated magna cum laude from Woke U. She was a double major smart woman. Eilidh Barbour majored in atoning for your white privilege while also majoring in victimization of the white woman. Now, that last major, that is critical for aspiring white journalists in television. As you guys know, it is increasingly difficult to be viewed as a victim if you have a skin tone similar to the color of vanilla ice cream. In victimization of the white woman, they teach students how to use their gender or non-binary status to garner sympathy from the public. The course is taught by Jemele Hill and features such legendary graduates like Mina Kimes, Katie Nolan, and Taylor Lorenz. Taylor Lorenz, she was even a guest speaker during Eilidh Barbour's time at Woke U. She talked about the time she exposed the home address of the creator of Libs of TikTok. Instead of admitting her mistake, I struggle to even call that a mistake because Taylor Lorenz did that shit on purpose. It was malicious. But she taught students how to spin a situation like that, where you victimize someone, and turn the incident around to make yourself the actual victim. Since 2017, Eilidh Barbour has been a sports reporter for BBC. For those of you that don't know, BBC is the British version of CNN or ESPN. They are one of the biggest donators to the British chapter of Woke United Methodist. Eilidh Barbour, she says one of the happiest days of her life was being baptized in the local dump and being born again. When I came out of that water, suddenly I saw things clearly. The oak tree cured my biases. I now see the world in black and white. Honestly, it is such a waste, too. When you think of a woke woman, you think of someone like Leah Thomas, Rachel Levine, Jemele Hill. Physically, Eilidh Barbour is a beautiful woman, but she wasted her God-given good looks by being baptized in the woke bath. Once you're exposed to the woke holy water, your beauty fades away and you immediately become another in a long line of ugly ducklings. I'm sure my men in my audience know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm sure you guys before have come across a beautiful woman. They are absolutely stunning at first glance. Then she opens her mouth and she talks herself into looking like Rachel Levine. That is Eilidh Barbour. Last month, she attended the Scottish Football Writers Association dinner. Now, I don't know anything about this organization besides the limited research I did this morning. Back in 2003, the organization was accused of misogyny. They would not allow men to bring their dates to dinner. They wanted just the men there. Members were concerned that the dinner would be transformed into an adult prom instead of a meeting of guys talking men shit. This is not misogyny. Women have a hard time sometimes understanding this concept, but let me explain it. Men need their own time. Men need space for their sanity. We need time away from our women. I don't allow my girlfriend to play golf with me and my friends, and she understands it completely. If I brought her to the golf course, the entire atmosphere, the dynamic would change. That's not misogyny. It's reality. It's no different than her not wanting me to go shopping with her and her girlfriends. Eventually, The SFWA, they folded to pressure. They began allowing dates and female journalists to attend the dinner. Now, they had allowed female journalists to attend in the past, but only a handful were allowed to attend. Today, it's open season. Any and everyone is welcome. And guess what happened? Just take a wild guess as to what happened at the dinner last month. Bill Copeland, a former lawyer in Scotland or the UK, he was the guest speaker for the event. He made some jokes that the easily offended considered misogynist, racist, homophobic. Now, I couldn't find any audio or video from the event. I couldn't find any evidence or context of these jokes. Eilidh Barbour wrote a dissertation for the Telegraph displaying her fake outrage. She barely provided a shred of evidence of these highly offensive jokes. She provided one piece of evidence. Bill Copeland said a man would know if he fucked a woman from Paisley because his dick would start to itch. What? Are you out of your fucking mind? Is this what we're calling offensive? Eilidh Barbour said she walked out of the dinner after this remark. Now, even though she wasn't there for the rest of the speech, she said, I just know there were also homophobic and racist remarks. You can't have a woke smoothie with just misogyny. Misogyny also leads to homophobia and racism. She claimed that she had never felt so unwelcome in the industry. I can believe that. After the bullshit you pulled last month, the whining and complaining about fucking jokes, and the bullshit you pulled earlier this week that I'm about to show you guys, I would imagine no one wants Eilidh Barbour in the industry. I'm about to say something. It might not be a popular opinion with some of you guys, but from a man's perspective, you guys know you have women that can handle men talk, guy talk, and you have women that can't handle it. You have women that can fit in with the guys. You have women that are easily offended. And to be fair, there are a lot of dudes walking the streets who get easily offended too. When I was working in management, I was extremely hesitant to hire women in the office. This was a small office, only 6 or 7 of us, all dudes. I didn't care how good looking she was. I was hesitant to give her the job. Now, why is that? It's not worth the risk. It's not worth one of my guys making a joke. Now we have an HR issue. It's not worth one of my guys complimenting her, telling her she looks nice today. Now we have sexual harassment. The dynamic of the office would change. When I was younger, I didn't understand this. I would hire, any good-looking woman. Her qualifications didn't matter. But 2 older men in my office, they pulled me aside, both former military. They pulled me aside and they explained it to me. They were more experienced than I was at 28 years old. They had been through this before. Men need their own space. They need space from women. Hell, women need space from women. My sister used to work at a bank. She fucking hated it. She couldn't quit that job fast enough. Why? She was tired of working around women. Every day in that bank, there was a new problem. Someone had an issue with someone else. Someone was jealous. Someone was emotional. It was always an argument every day. Now, to be fair, not all women are like this. Growing up, I had a lot of girlfriends. Not girlfriends, platonic girlfriends. But I had a lot of girlfriends that could talk shit better than some of my guy friends. They fit in with the guys. You knew the girls that you could joke around with, and you knew the girls that you couldn't. If I had to guess, this is just speculation on my part, but if I had to guess, this is the reason the SFWA refused to allow women to attend their dinner for years. They knew what was meant to be a fun night for the dudes would be turned into a fucking problem. If I were them, I would never invite Eilidh Barbour back again. Earlier this week, the women's team in England battled Norway in the UEFA Women's Championship. Now, I'm not all that familiar with the women's team. If they're anything like the men's team, they're filled with woke dumbasses. The men's team in England, full of victims, led by the ultimate apologizer of white privilege, their manager Gareth Southgate. The British women dominated Norway, beat them 8-0. Now, you would expect positive coverage from Eilidh Barbour and the BBC after the game, right? Your team just dominated their opponents, advancing to the next round of the tournament. This should be cause for woke hug celebrations, right? Our women are dominating. Let's celebrate. Who wants to tag team the woke cucumber? According to Eilidh Barbour, this was a bittersweet victory. Matter of fact, this was no victory at all. This was a shining example of racism. This was an example of the lack of diversity in women's soccer. Oh, I'm so hurt. The pain is too much to bear. I can't go on. I just can't go on. Watch this bullshit.
An historic 8-goal victory for England last night as the Lionesses secured their place in the quarter-finals. But all starting 11 players and the 5 substitutes that came onto the pitch were all white. And that does point towards a lack of diversity in the women's game.
To add insult to injury, Ellen White scored 2 goals in the match. Oh, ouch, ouch, ouch. A white girl with the last name White took 2 scoring opportunities away from a minority player. It's racism, damn it. You guys know how I am. You know exactly what I did when I heard this bullshit from Eilidh Barbour. I pulled the roster for the English squad. Imagine my surprise when I discovered 3 of the players were black, 13% of the roster. One of these players, Demi Stokes, she just told The Athletic last month that women's soccer in England welcomes everyone. It's diverse. Now, because none of the black players participated in one game, Eilidh Barbour claims there's a lack of diversity. I also pulled the racial demographics for England. 80% of the population is white. Take a guess. The percentage of black people in England, just take a wild fucking guess. 3%. 3%. 13% of the soccer players are black. Where's the problem here? Where is the racism? This is another example of someone in the mainstream media creating an issue of mythical racism where it doesn't exist. I feel bad for black people. I feel bad for members of the LGBT community. Hell, I feel bad for most women, most normal women. The woke movement uses these groups to push a false narrative. And what ends up happening, the narrative actually comes to fruition. They speak it into existence. Just like the work example I gave you just a few minutes ago. I have had viewers email me in the past, people in management positions, sharing their concerns they had with hiring people who fall into a protected class. They're worried about HR issues, worried about lawsuits that they have to terminate employment. Most of these people in these protected classes are good people. They're just like us. They don't believe any of the woke bullshit. They're just being used. But again, is it worth the risk? The same people supposedly fighting for their rights, they're actually harming them. But as you guys know, people like Eilidh Barbour, the mainstream media, they're not fighting for minority rights. These people are just another tool in the woke tool belt used to further a twisted agenda. But let me know what you think. Eilidh Barbour crying misogyny at the SFWA dinner, then crying racism with the English women's soccer team. Sound off in the comments below. Make sure to like and subscribe. Click the notification bell to receive all notifications from the channel. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com, kc_btl84 on Twitter. I'll see you guys later.